Hi everybody, Diana here at So Uncommon. Welcome to Quilt Lab, which is our Sunday video series. We do a new block each month. That block is available for you over at our website. We'll give you more information about that. If you are a Quilt Lab subscriber, which several of you are, you will have been sent an email just last night with your coupon code so that you can download it at no charge because it's part of your Quilt Lab subscription. And I'll give the email information or the website information at the end, but I'm so glad to have you all with us. First of all, I should share, it's been a absolutely crazy week. Husband was sick. Quite sick the other day to the point where I had to postpone the Quilt Lab Zoom. That's going to be this next week. I'm going to send you the new information on Monday for when that is. And I do apologize again that I had to do that, but he was sick up all night. I was up with him. I had to sleep during the day when he slept. And then I got sick. And then it just keeps getting better. Friday, late afternoon, after husband came home, we were doing some storage stuff for a little bit to try and get some stuff done that we were going to do earlier in the week when he was sick. And I fell hard. I've got 2 swollen wrists. I have to cancel my guitar lesson for the week. I'm not allowed to do anything with them because it just even typing to try and get today's stuff done was so painful. And I fell on my tuchus right on my tailbone, and it is super bruised. And so sitting is not comfortable. My back is all out now. So I've got a whole week of chiropractic appointments to look forward to now. I didn't realize I had fallen so hard, but my husband said he heard me fall, like he could hear the smack. Luckily, I did not hit my head. Not that, that would make any difference, right? Because I'm nutso anyway, right? But it's been a long week, a very long week. So I've got some healing to do, but nothing's going to keep me from my Build-A-Quilt, right? Because we love it. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Let's go over, before we dig into this week's block, let's talk about some of these blocks you see behind me. Now, this block right there, that's our diamond in a cross block. That was, let me even move that up a little bit for you. There you go. That was our February block. And I am going to share with you right now a photo. This was a picture. I know it looks blurry. I think that's my computer's fault, but I'm not going to give you a name because I don't recall getting permission from our guest for this, but I loved how her block turned out. Now, I'm not sure what size this was. I don't remember if she told me, but I love it. I love these fabrics. This, I love this aqua minty color, right? That's just my color. I'm all over that. You can't see it great, but it looks like there might be this color in this black too with the white. And folks, the actual picture is so much better than how it translated here for you guys. But boy, is it pretty. I mean, I love it. I love the fabrics. I love how this fabric, the black background fabric, gives the whole block a really elegant look, doesn't it? I mean, it's just super elegant and kind of makes this kind of simple block really sophisticated looking. I just think it's beautiful. And I love how having the darker background makes the cross part itself really come forward and pop out. Beautiful job. Bravo. Thank you so much for sharing that. If you want to share your blocks with us, I love to see them. It makes me so happy to see them. I just get all kind of giddy when I see them. And you guys inspire me. I would have never thought of doing that block with that dark background. If you notice, mine has a lighter background and the darker in the center, and it looks great. It's fine. But I really loved that Excuse me, still getting over from sickness. Gosh. Spring came, spring weather came, and I went out the door. Anyway, I would have never thought of doing that dark background, and I really loved it. It turned out quite beautiful. So thank you for sending that in. And if you want to share yours so that we can all see them, download them over at our Facebook page, Sew in Common. And I'll pick them up and be able to show them in a future episode. And if you're very shy about posting publicly, you can always send them to me at support@sewincommon.com. I would prefer you put them on the Facebook page so we can all see them and love them, because trust me, if I was inspired by that block, so would someone else have been. So that would be wonderful. And you know how I like to clap when I can't do that. My hands are so sore. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so that would be great. So that was February's block. February's come and gone now. But let's look at this block here. This was this week's Wednesday workshop block, the spring eclipse. Do you see a little bit of a pattern here with this cross piece in it? But this has like that whole eclipse star in the center. And I did this because April 8th, we're having a total eclipse of the sun. Did you know that? I love it. I love when those things happen. I'm such a space junkie. And so I made this spring eclipse. I called it Spring Eclipse in honor of that. And it's April 8th. So it's just a couple days before my birthday. And so I kind of feel like it's a little special. I'm getting a little special treat from the heavens. I get this beautiful eclipse to watch. And a good swath of the United States. I don't know about other parts of the world. I am sure it will be seen in other parts of the world, obviously. But a good swath of the United States is going to be able to see it. So get yourself those little glasses. You can get them. Make sure, I would go to the NASA page. That's where I got ours for Dave and I, and for the folks that work for him at his job, because I know that they are tested and will work. I don't know sometimes about those kinds of glasses when you just buy them like off some site on the internet. Make sure for that when you get them from a reliable source, because you don't want to be looking at the sun with something that isn't properly made, because you can really do damage to your beautiful peepers, and that wouldn't be good, would it? No, it would not be good. But get them and then go outside on April 8th and look at that beautiful total eclipse of the sun. It's supposed to be twice as long as the one that we had in 2017. So I think it'll be a fun day. So that's our spring eclipse. And then Thursday, we had our Riley Blake Day. And this was block number 5, and it's called Dazzle. And in that video, which I'm going to link that video at the end of today's video, and the Wednesday workshop one too. So if you haven't caught them, you can just click on those and it'll take you right to them. But Dazzle is by a lovely artist, designer named Christy Lee. I don't know Christy Lee, but I love the block. Now, I go through this in the video with you, that just looking straight at it's a little hard to see, but it's definitely a pinwheel. And then it's got, the way it works out is almost a pinwheel and pinwheel. And one of our subscribers said that she looked at it and she thought maybe it was a maypole block. And I think that's probably correct. Absolutely. But there's so much color, and I am just a color junkie, aren't I? Right? You know it. I mean, look at all these blocks. I have color, color, color. But I thought this one might have been easier to see the design if there had been less colors. But like I tell you in the video, I don't know where that block is going in the end quilt. It could turn out to be just the most fabulous thing in the world and work perfectly. And it will, because that's why it's created and will be put in the quilt that way. So I loved it. But that's by Christy Lee. It's block number 5. And you can get that free pattern over at the website too. And then this coming Thursday, we'll be doing block 6. They did not have a block this week. They took a week off, which I liked because that gives us a little time to catch up. On Tuesday, they will release block 7. If I can get it digitized as well, then I will. But the block coming up this Thursday for sure, block 6 is Bloom Where You Are Planted. I have it digitized. I haven't stitched it out yet because I'm having some problems with the old hands. And I really hope that this goes away quickly because I landed backwards on my hands like this. And that's how I really, really hurt them. Poor little hands. But the doctor said, you're not doing your guitar lesson this week. I still have to I have to send a message to my instructor. I hate missing my lesson because I love it. Since I started to take them, oh, I love it so much. I can play 6 chords now. 6. Yeah, that's amazing to me. I love it. All right, everybody, are you ready for the new block? You see it. You're already looking at it. St. George's Cross. I'm going to actually tack it up a little higher. Make sure I got it straight there. That's a little bit better for you. There we go. St. George's Cross. Now, the St. George's Cross flag is red and white, and you can certainly make it in red and white. I made mine in these fabrics, though, because this fabric is called London Blues. It's one of the London Blues from Timeless Treasures and, Fooey. There's another company that designed it, and Timeless Treasures manufactures it. But it's one of the London Blues, and this was part of a quilt along that they did, a traditional quilt along that they did back in 2019. And I still have a ton of all these fabrics, and I love them so much. Those blues and whites, that Delft China look. And then this one is called a Dit Dot. It's kind of an interesting name. They come in all colors. I think I have one of these in green too. You can't see it too well, but if you look up really super close, it's almost like a Moda Grunge, but with all these little dots. So it turned out great. And so here you can see the cross right this way. So that's why, like, you would think that this would be rotated so that this and this would match up. Nuh-uh. Because this dark blue is what creates the overall cross. Now, I could have plopped just a plain old square in the center to make that cross, but the St. George's Cross flag, I just like the shape of it, and so when I saw it, I thought, yeah, let's make a block out of that and kind of make it our own version. So that cross on that flag, the red cross, kind of comes in and goes out like that, and that's kind of what this is doing. And so I decided to do a quarter square triangle here to kind of just imagine that look here. It inspired me. That inspired me more than just putting a flat old block there, or just a straight block. Nothing wrong with that, but I liked this better. So this month, our block really is all about the idea of flippy corners. Okay, so we have block A right here, block B right here, and the quarter square triangle. That's the only 3 segments. And now the quarter square triangle we've done before, but you should know that at the end of my information here and all, there's going to be 3 demo videos added on to the end. The block A video, the block B video, and the quarter square triangle video, step by step on how they're sewn together on the embroidery machine in your hoop. Because if you've done traditional quilting or patchwork, the idea of a flippy corner is used quite often. And it really, you can see it in these 2 blocks. It really helps give you shape. So 2 flippy corners here gives this kind of a vaulted square. And over here, the flippy corners kind of give us this rectangular on point kind of idea. And so I thought, well, they're easier to do in the hoop of our embroidery machine. So I thought, let's do that. I could have done the St. George's Cross in a different type of piecing in the hoop, but I thought, let's practice our flippy corners, because we've never done flippy corner segment pieces for our blocks before, and I thought, let's do them now and get used to doing them. So in the future, when we have blocks and we're doing flippy corners, you're just like, oh, that's a flippy corner. No problem there. I can do, ooh, I shouldn't be doing that. It's habit, but I can do that. No problem at all. So this month, we're going to be practicing the flippy corners. And we're also going to be doing a quarter square triangle, because if you've done it with me before, you know this. If you haven't, the quarter square triangle gets made in 2 pieces and stitched together. And I go over that fully for you in that video clip. So block A is video 1, block B is video 2, and the quarter square is video 3. Okay. And so the pattern is available if you are not part of the Quilt Lab subscription for the year. The pattern package is $7.95. This comes in 3 sizes. You get the pattern pieces for your embroidery machine for 3 sizes: a 9x9 block, a 12x12 block, and I hope some of you are happy because some of you have been asking for 12x12s. So you can make it either 9x9, 12x12, or this one is the largest one, 15x15. And I can see this as a single block patterned quilt in whatever colorway. If I end up having enough of these 2 fabrics, which I might, I know I have some other London blues that I could, substitute in and out, and like maybe, every other one. I think I want to make a throw quilt out of this because I love it. I think it's just gorgeous. Now, my printer really is running out of ink, as you can see, but it's my copy. I know what it looks like. Yours will be, in these beautiful blues on your copy when you download it onto your computer. And if you print it, just have, color ink if you're going to print it in color, or you can print it in black and white too. I like to print it in color so you guys can see what it's going to look like. But for me, even though it looks kind of yucky, that's fine. So here on this page, I always show you whatever segments are in your block. And so here they are. Block A, flippy corners on this one are diagonal from one another. And so you can see in this particular block, our flippy corners are going this way, and then we flip the block and they go this way, and then we flip the block and they go this way again, just like here, and then we flip the block and they go this way. So across from each other, the flippy corners are top left, bottom right, and on these 2 diagonals, the flippy corners are top right, bottom left. Okay, but you can see, depending on how you flip that block, that segment piece, you can really change how this affects an overall quilt pattern because it will guide the color. Now, the flippy corners in our block is the same fabric, but just like with other blocks that have multiple pieces, you can do multiple colors. You could do 3 different fabrics here if you wanted to, or if you're going to do a 2-color design like I've done. For this one, you need to do 2 colors and you do them the same. But if you're using this segment for another block, you could certainly change your flippy corners for sure. So that's block A. Block B is this vaulted look here. Kind of looks like a house, right? So if you need a house block, there you go. Use that. That's your little house block. You could do this in whatever color. And then this maybe in a blue for the sky. That would be cute. But your flippy corners are always at the top, on the top left, top right. But you can see below here, we flip it and they end up in the bottom. And we're making them all exactly the same. You don't have to reverse anything, flip anything. You're making them all the same. But just depending on how you rotate the segment makes your pattern. And so over here, then we've got them going east and west. And then our quarter square triangle is our 3rd segment piece, and it goes right in the center. Then you're getting more supply information. And I had a blank piece of paper go through the printer. Then you're getting the layout of the whole block. And here comes the fun one, the coloring sheet. And then the cut sheet here. So for block A, block B, and block C, it gives you the 3-inch segments for the 9x9, the 4-inch segments for the 12x12, and the 5-inch segments for the 15x15 on all 3 of the segment pieces. Then I've started putting this in. How many you make? What fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 2, 1 and 1, fabric 2 and 2, 1 and 1. So you'll see that. That can be helpful. And then we go into instructions for all your pieces. So you're going to see your full block, and then you're going to have your breakdown on the side. Okay. And then, of course, in this video, you can always refer back to the segment on those blocks. And then we finish up with our last page. So that's your pattern set. You're getting all of those different digital files so that you can make any of the sizes. So this is St. George's Cross. And I was thinking about this because we really are coming up into spring. At the end of this month, on the 31st of March, is Easter. And for some reason, I thought, I was trying to think, do I want to do something like a lily or something? And then for some reason, the St. George's Cross just came to my mind. It doesn't hold super significance for me, but somehow for me, it just feels like Easter time, that kind of time. It reminds me kind of I've seen St. George's crosses in churches at Easter time. I'm not sure what that significance might be. If you know, let us know in the comments. But that's how I came up with the St. George's Cross block. I hope you guys like it. All right, folks, that is this week's block. And in order to get your block, you need to go to the website, www.sewincommon.com. You can also still get the pattern set. You get this pattern set in 3 sizes as well. Quilt Lab blocks in 2024 come in 3 sizes, so you can get that one still. You can, now for the Wednesday workshop, you need to have our Build-A-Quilt sets. You're going to need set 1 and set 2. Those sets are available over at the website. And trust me, if you really want to start doing your quilting in the hoop, you need these sets because they have your most basic segment pieces in them. And I'm trying not to duplicate the segment pieces in our monthly blocks as much as possible. I did throw in the quarter square today, but I just felt it really needed it for the block. But you really want to get your segments, your basics. Basics 1 is your square, your half square, and your quarter square. Set 2 is your flying geese, your split rail, and your diamond in a square. They come in multiple sizes. You get the video, all of that. So that you can find over at the website as well. If you need to contact me, you can do so. At support@sewincommon.com. You can send your photos there too if you don't want to put them on Facebook, but put them on Facebook so everybody can see them. We all want to see them and share in your beautiful quilting and piecing. Okay, so that is it for today's video, guys. After I finish, the 3 clips will come up. Let me just say this, that Wednesday we will have Wednesday workshop. But we have made a decision here at Sew in Common to end the every Friday Social Friday Live. A lot of people contacted me and wanted a Friday Live, and I thought, excellent, let's do it. But in the end, it's had very little participation. And it is a 4th show for me every week. And I would rather put that time, if you all aren't as interested as you thought you might be, and that's fine, that's cool. We are going to roll with it. I would rather put that time into our projects and our other things here at Sew in Common. Because of my injury, the modified half square triangle set, the master set, is not coming out this week. I have not been able to get it finished, and I'm sure that it's going to probably be 2 weeks now. So we're backing it up a little bit because of my injuries. I apologize, but it's coming. We're still going to do the prepaid where you get that extra modified flying geese, all of that. I just have to back it up because I have to be careful with my hands for a little while. I know you guys understand. You're such great people. I know you do. And I already know some of you are sending in don't worry about it comments and hope you get better, because you always do when something goes horribly crazy in my life. So thank you so much. I appreciate your support in that way more than you know. Those kinds of good wishes, those kinds of things we know always help people heal faster. That's a scientific fact. I know you might not care, but I'm a science geek, right? I am a scientist, and it just does. And so thank you all so much. It means the world to me. It means the absolute world to me. All right, everybody, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so. See all the beautiful fun we've been having? We did a churn dash. We did a card trick. We did a lot of blocks in February, and we've got more coming here in March, but this is our block of the month. 3 sizes, 9 by 9, 12 by 12, 15 by 15. You get all of that. So subscribe to the channel. Be a part of the Sew in Common family. I would love to have you, and I know that all of our subscribers would love to have you as a fellow participant as well. Please do that. Please like and share the video. Now, although we will not be having a regular weekly Social Friday live, we will have live events. I'll make sure we do a live event at least once a month for us, but they'll probably be like announced on a Quilt Lab day that they're coming in that week, because I don't want to give up the lives completely, but it just didn't seem to work out for everybody, and that's fine. Doesn't always, and we'll just roll with it, right? And maybe now we'll come up with something that everybody loves better. So that's fine. So please subscribe, like, and share. We love it when you do that. And as always, everybody, what do I tell you? Go sew life beautiful. Go make some beautiful St. George's crosses. Go make some beautiful diamonds in a square, some eclipse stars, some of these lovely free Riley Blake block challenges. I know a lot of you are doing that because those patterns go really quickly. So I can't wait to see what we all come up with, because this is all a mystery for all of us, even me. So I love it. So sew life beautiful, everybody. And until Wednesday workshop, have a great week. See you soon. Okay, everybody, here we are at my machine. I've got my stabilizer and my hoop, and I've already stitched out step 1, which is the boundary box. Let me take this out. I'm not using black thread today because I don't want, this is going to be my finished piece, and I didn't want any black thread, but I'm going to take the hoop out so you can see. So right here, that is the boundary box. And the next step will also stitch out directly on the stabilizer. That's going to be the placement piece for our first piece of fabric. Now again, this is block A, and block A, the larger piece is the light piece, the light colored piece. So that's my light. And these are going to be for what technically in traditional quilting is considered a flippy corner. And that's just kind of exactly what it is. And here is our finished block. This is block A. That's what it's going to look like. You can see here I've got 2 of them complete, and they look exactly the same. And the great thing about this segment block is if you put them together in different ways. So can you see if you had 4 of these, let's see. If you had 4 of these, you'd end up with an X, or they can stack like that. So this kind of a shape in the segment can be really helpful. Okay, so here I have my boundary box now for my center placement. I'm going to go ahead and put just a wee bit of my, let's just move this a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of glue stick here. Now remember, you don't have to use glue stick. I just find it helpful to hold the fabric down. And it washes out when you wash out your stabilizer. It will wash out completely because it is made to do that. It is water soluble. It doesn't leave a residue. All right, so this is my first fabric, or my light fabric for block A. I'm going to lay that down, and now we're going to stitch out or stitch that down. Now this block requires one bit of trimming at the end of this first part, but it's super simple. And then the only other trimming you do is when you trim it out of the stabilizer at the end. I love this fabric. This is one of the London blue fabrics that I told you about at the beginning. This was some that I had. I'm thinking that Timeless Treasure pattern was done back in 2019. All right, so here we are. And you can see, I know it's hard to see, but it's stitched right where it was. So I need to cut these two corners here, basically. So I'm just going to flip it. Remember, I'm a lefty. I'm going to gauge about 1/4 inch. A little more, tiny bit less is not going to make a difference because your final seams are all built in. I'm going to trim that there, and I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to trim it here on the other side. This is the only extra trimming you do on this block. It goes really quickly, just like that. Now, here's my hoop in its normal position. The next piece is to place the fabric for this first flippy corner, which is at the top right. Please excuse my sniffles. I'm still getting over, well, I just have allergies constantly at this point since spring has arrived 3 months early. All right, so I'm placing these fabrics right side together. And yes, if you notice from my others, I'm in my robe. Because of my fall yesterday, I'm really hurting. So I have to ice everywhere so often that I haven't put on my regular clothes. It's easier to get ice in and around without that being on. I really took a tumble too, but I'll be sore for several days, I'm sure. I'll be seeing my chiropractor and all next week to make sure that my spine is adjusted properly because I really put it out too, but my hip, everything is out. So this is stitched down. I'm going to, here's the flippy part. I'm going to flip that up. Now, in traditional quilting, these flippy corners are kind of made the same way, but they're made with a full block and then you trim them and all. So we are just using our triangle because in the hoop with Build-A-Quilt, that's all you need. There's not all the measuring and stuff. So we like that, right? That's great. Okay. And now I'm going to do the flippy corner down here. I'm just going to place that next piece of fabric right sides together, just like we did before, and stitch. And I'll place a wee tab of glue right there. Flip my fabric. You can use your seam roller if you want to flatten that down, but with the glue there, I don't really find I need it too much. Kind of hold it a little bit. Now I'm going to finish stitching this down and then, wait a minute, I think, yep, hang on. My thread came out. Let me just thread it. Sometimes when I push this back, it will come undone, but it's not coming undone because of that little problem that was right there. We got that fixed finally. Yay! Okay. Now I know some of you are saying, why didn't you back up those few stitches? Because I still have a boundary box that's going to go over that point, so I'm not worried about it. Now, with this block, we have one more machine step, and that's to stitch out our complete guideline box all the way around. And we have a corner here that could cause some problems and a corner down here. So we're going to put in a little bit of tape at each of those points, because it's going to go this way. You see, if it's going this way, it could catch there. So we're just going to put a piece of tape there. And it's not going to hit this one. because as it comes around, it's going with that seam. But as it comes around here, whoops, let me hold this up. As it comes around here, whoops, it could catch there. So we don't want that to happen. We'll put a wee bit of tape there. As we continue to come around here, it's not going to catch here because it's going to be going with that seam. So there we go. And now we'll just finish the guideline box. And then we'll be able to take this over with any of our other blocks and we'll cut them out of the stabilizer. I always remove my tape first so that I'm not adding any sticky or anything to my rotary cutter and dulling it prematurely. But this tape doesn't really seem to bother my needle any at all. I have one more piece to finish, and I think I will change my needle, though it's been a little while since I changed my needle. I try to change my needle with every big project, like a full quilt, or with every 3 or 4 smaller projects. And that's kind of where I am at this point. I've done kind of a medium project and a couple of small projects on this needle. And I can kind of start to hear a little ka-thunking. It's just that sound that my machine makes usually when my needle is getting old or dull. So I think it's about time to do that. I'm just peeling my tape right off, throwing that away. And there we go. There is our block A. Now the next demo that I show you will be for block B. And then we will also do the quarter square triangle block as well. All right. Okay, in this demo, we're going to demonstrate block B. And block B consists of 1 large dark square and 2 light triangles. And where this was block A, this is now block B. And actually, it's kind of created the same way because we're just talking about adding these 2 flippy corners. So on block A, we added our flippy corners in the opposite corners. In block B, we add them side to side. So it's pretty easy. Now I've gone ahead, just like before, and stitched out my first box. That's my boundary box. Now I'm going to stitch out my first placement area for you. And that's when we'll place our dark fabric. I've got my glue stick ready. Excuse me. You know, the day after a fall, you really do feel like you've been hit by a truck. That saying is very true. Because you don't just hurt in the place that you've landed on, you hurt everywhere. Okay, so here is our area. I'm just going to put in a little bit of glue stick. And I'm going to, let's see if we can place this. There we go. You can see my hoop a little bit better now. I'm going to place my large square just right over the top. And just like with block A, there's going to be a minor bit of trimming after this next step. So in block A, we trimmed away here and here to make room for our flippy corners. In block B, we're going to trim here and here to make room for our flippy corners. And you'll also want to have your 2 triangles ready. Now this fabric that I'm using, this dark blue, is called a Dit Dot by Jason Yender, I think. I apologize if I'm not getting that name right. I don't have that information. It's partially cut off, but it's a Dit Dot. I'm pretty sure it's still available. You would find it, kind of by boutiques and by your solids and stuff like that, or at least that's where my fabric store, when I go in there, that's where they keep it. And you can see I'm just trimming. And these pieces, these corners that you trim off, keep these because these can be used for smaller half square triangles or smaller pieces that have smaller corners. So look, I have all of those in both of my fabrics to keep now, and I'll just put those in my pre-cut drawer that I've shown you before, and then I'll be ready. So for whenever I want to use them for other projects. So here we are. I know it's hard to see. Let me just lay this on here. And you want to make sure that you've got it kind of even, so you've got about the same amount of fabric across your outer boundary. Let me lift this up, it'll be easier. So you want to lay it so it's about the same on each side. That way you know you're nice and squared off. Or you can kind of go from this tip in the square here and kind of line it up pretty close there. Anything like that'll work. You don't have to be ultra careful though. You have plenty of fabric in the instructions for cutting. So if you're off by a little bit, it's not going to matter. It'll just give you a, you know, an easier, well, no, it won't make a difference at all really, unless you're way off and don't leave yourself enough to trim out your 1/4 inch on each side. That's the real thing you're looking for, is that whenever your fabric goes over your boundary line, that you have at least a 1/4 inch there, which is pretty easy to do because I always give you guys plenty of fabric. Now we flipped and we'll stitch this one down. And then we will place our next one. And remember, with this piece and with this piece, we place those right sides together. Just like that, right sides together. And now we'll stitch that down and then flip it, and then we'll have our guideline box for stitching our blocks together to do. And on this piece, like with the piece A, the block A, we're going to have 2 corners that we need to cover with a little tape so that the foot of our machine doesn't get caught on the fabric and causes all kinds of hassles. So flip and stitch. I really love these fabrics together. So when these get put together in the block, they get put together like this, because what your, whoops, sorry, like this. These 2 corners look like they should match like that, but they don't. They're like this because what's happening here, let me see if I can hold this so that you can see. What's happening here is this line into this line is shaping the cross. That's why you don't want them matching up, because then you won't get that shape that you're supposed to be getting. All right, now we just need to finish by stitching out our guide box. So I'm going to put, whoops, that's not where I need the tape. Sorry, let me take that right back off. So my line is going to go this way. It's just going to follow along. It's just going to follow along in this side as well. So actually on this one, I only need a piece of tape right here. And that's kind of a big piece, but it's the end of a strip. So while that's stitching, let me show you what I do with my tape. So here's my roll of tape. I'm almost out of this one. I need to grab a new roll from my stash. So what I do is I just take and I unroll myself a nice long strip like that. And then I just place it right over here on my machine. I just place it right here. And I just kind of lightly stick it there. And then I just peel off tabs, because this peels so easily with your fingers that it doesn't really matter. All right. And then I have a ton of it there, and I don't have to take it off my roll each and every time. That's just what I do. You can do anything you like though. All right, so let's put this back down so you can see it a little bit better. So here we are. I'm just going to peel my tape off. There we go. And I'll throw that away. Now I can take this out, and with my ruler, I'll put my 1/4 inch line of my ruler on the edge and trim everything to that side, and I'll do it on all 4 corners, and I'll end up with a beautiful block A, or a block B, sorry, block B. Now we'll go on and we'll do the 1/4 square triangle. Okay, here we are for our 3rd and final demo of the block pieces. So this piece is a 1/4 square triangle. Okay, and as you see, the colors are the same across from each other in both directions. Now, the quarter square triangle is a little different, and if you've done this before with me, you know, because it's made in two parts that get stitched together on the sewing machine. And again, we don't have to worry about stitching them together because we will have a guideline that we stitch right down and they'll come together and they'll look just right. So when you make your two pieces, and in a 5x7 hoop, if you move one piece all the way up into the top left corner, and then when that's done, rotate the pattern and move it all the way into the bottom right corner, you'll be able to make both sections in one hooping. But when you make them, make sure that you make them exactly the same. Color one, color two, color one, color two. So light, dark, dark, light. However, in mine, as you can see, the first because it gets made in this direction, I place my light color first and then my dark color. So in this case, these would have been made like this: light color, dark color. And then when you stitch them together on the guideline and you flip them out, you end up with them in the perfect place. Okay, so here is my first half. I've already created that. It was created just like that. And now we're going to create my second half. Let me move my camera up. We're going to do the border line, the boundary line. Now remember, this was block B and this was block A. And so now the quarter square triangle, you only make one of them, and that is going to be the center of your overall St. George's cross. It's going to stitch down. It just continues. It's going to stitch right down in the middle to create our two sections for us. Now here's where things get a little fun with the quarter square triangle. All right, let me take this out so you can see it. So there is the boundary box. That's the division line. This will be the light color fabric. This will be the dark color fabric. So when we always know that when we do patchwork in the hoop, we place our first piece of fabric right side up. And that's exactly what we're going to do. But with the quarter square, it is very specific on how you lay it. So you can't just lay it like this, although your fabric, you might find a way to make your fabric fit. Like I could lay it that way and my fabric would fit over, but that's the incorrect way to lay it. You must lay it in the same direction as this segment on your stabilizer. So we're going to lay it like that. And let's just pop that down. There we go. So what I like to do is, I know I'm working with this piece right here. In fact, do I have a, here we go. I'm going to make a little line here so it might be easier for you all to see this one. I know it's still light, but it's darker than the other. There, you can see my triangle now. So what I want to do, I know I'm going to lay my fabric going in the same direction. See, they're both the same. But to keep me from having to do a lot of trimming, so when I made this one, I didn't do any trimming on this side until the end when I trimmed the whole thing out. So what I like to do is I like to place my fabric about 1/4 inch from this line. So I'm looking right here. Here's, let me make another line here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the line that extends for the rest of the triangle. So what I like to do is use that line for a guideline and place this fabric roughly 1/4 inch from that line. That way I know I have plenty of fabric on this side for trimming out, and I'm not going to have to worry about doing a lot of excess trimming. I'll have enough, and then I'll end up with that perfect look like we see here. And when I place it like that, it's also going to place it roughly 1/4 inch from this line, which creates this first triangle. So let's go ahead and put this back into the machine. Now, I did not use fabric glue, but I could have, and I would have if I had remembered to, but it's okay. So now you can see that even if you forget to use your fabric glue, it still stays in place. And I don't really need to hold it down. I just like to pet my fabric sometimes as I'm stitching. It's a habit from quilters. We like to make sure everything stays in place. Alrighty, so now I don't have to do any trimming on this side. I've got plenty of fabric out here to this side. I'm good. Now I'm going to lay down my second piece. Now here's where the fun part comes for the second time. Let's place this down. There we go. So now I see this triangle right here. Let me get my pen again. There we go. Oops. So I'm going to make my line just so you can see the full section. All right. So there's my second triangle, and it looks like my fabric should get laid down like this, right? Right, because it's going in that direction. However, if I did that, let's say if I laid it down like this, it's not going to fold properly. So what you need to do with the second piece is you need to lay it down exactly how you laid this first piece down, right on top of it, right sides together, just like that. That gives you your proper seam allowances. It will fold over and cover in that space with no problem. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue right there so I don't forget this time. And we'll stitch it down, then we'll flip it. Let's move our camera back up. There we go. So it's not difficult. It's just remembering how to lay this second piece down. And once you've done it a couple of times, it'll be instinctual to you, because the first time you do it wrong, you'll go, oh, I did it wrong. I knew I wasn't supposed to lay it that way, and I did it anyway. And believe it or not, occasionally I still do that too, but it will become much more of an instinct. And now I've just flipped my fabric, and I'll finish the stitch out here. And I'm going to take a little piece of tape, because my boundary box now, or my guideline box at the end, is going to go all the way around here. And this seam up here is not a problem, but right here it could get caught. So I'll just place my tape over it. And now we'll do the boundary, or the guideline box for the sewing at the end. And then while that's stitching, I'll take my other one right here, and I'm going to, if it's helpful to you when you're first doing these, just give it a little mark back here so you can see that line a little bit easier. Do you see the line there, right there? That is going to help you stitch these two together. Let's go back to my samples that I did. So what I'll do is I will line these up so that, and it's very easy. It's just nesting those two together. You want them to look like they're kissing cousins, basically. Line those up. And it's always a good idea to put a clip or a pin if you don't use clips, but I highly recommend switching over to quilting clips instead of using pins. Clip it there. You might want to do another clip down here if you like, but then you just take this to your machine, your sewing machine, and you stitch down that line, and you'll end up with a beautiful quarter square triangle. So that's how you do all quarter squares. So this one is done. I'm just going to remove my tape. There we go. Remove my tape. Now I'll remove this so you can see with this 5x7 hoop, if I moved my next one all the way over to the right and all the way down, I could get my second one in there and get them both in the same hooping for the 5x5. And it's very easy to do that for the 4x4 and the 3x3 for the other 2 size blocks in this month's pattern set. So I'll just pop this out of my hoop, and now I can take it over and cut it out. And then what I do is I stitch out, well, there's only 1 per block. So I would then line these up, take it to my sewing machine and stitch it on. If you have a machine where you have to reverse this now from embroidery to sewing, I would wait and make sure you have everything else done on the embroidery machine before you even bother. Because once you flip it to the sewing machine, if this is the last thing you have to do, then you're ready to put your whole block together. Okay, let's go on back now.